Welcome to Non-Fiction Reviews. Free to Choose is a classic book written by Nobel Prize-winning economist Milton Friedman and his wife Rose Friedman. Published in 1980, the book presents a case for free market capitalism as the most effective economic system for promoting individual freedom and prosperity. The Friedmans begin by examining the role of government in economic affairs. They argue that government intervention, while often well-intentioned, can lead to unintended consequences and inefficiencies. They argue that the market, through the forces of supply and demand, is a more efficient way to allocate resources and produce goods and services. The authors then turn their attention to specific areas of government intervention, such as the minimum wage, social security, and public education. They argue that these programs, while intended to help the poor and vulnerable, often have unintended consequences that ultimately harm those they are supposed to help. For example, the minimum wage may actually make it harder for low-skilled workers to find employment, while social security may discourage saving and investment. The Friedmans also discuss the role of government in regulating business and promoting competition. While they acknowledge the need for some regulation to prevent fraud and other forms of malfeasance, they argue that excessive regulation can stifle innovation and create barriers to entry that protect established firms from competition. They advocate for policies that promote competition and allow market forces to determine prices and output. Another major theme of the book is the relationship between economic and political freedom. The authors argue that economic freedom is a necessary condition for political freedom. When individuals have the economic means to support themselves and their families, they are less likely to be beholden to the state or other forms of authority. This allows for a more vibrant civil society and a greater diversity of political views. Throughout the book, the Friedmans also address common objections to free market capitalism. For example, they argue that monopolies are rare in truly free markets, and that most perceived monopolies are actually the result of government intervention. They also refute the idea that free market capitalism leads to income inequality, arguing that the system is more meritocratic than other economic systems and that income inequality is often the result of government policies rather than market forces. In the final chapters of the book, the Friedmans discuss the future of free market capitalism. They argue that despite the challenges it faces, including increased government intervention and globalization, the principles of free market capitalism remain the best way to promote individual freedom and economic prosperity. Here are 5 takeaways from the book. 1. Economic freedom is crucial for individual freedom and prosperity. The Friedmans argue that economic freedom is essential for individual liberty, creativity, and prosperity. They contend that governments that limit economic freedom tend to stifle innovation and growth, while countries that promote economic freedom tend to have higher standards of living and greater economic mobility. 2. Market forces are more effective than government intervention. The Friedmans advocate for the power of the free market, arguing that market forces are better equipped to allocate resources efficiently than government intervention. They argue that government intervention often leads to unintended consequences and inefficiencies that harm the economy and limit individual freedom. 3. Education is essential for a free society. The Friedmans argue that education is essential for a free society. They contend that education provides individuals with the skills and knowledge necessary to participate in a free and democratic society. They also argue that education can help promote economic growth and reduce poverty. 4. Government should be limited in its role. The Friedmans advocate for limited government, arguing that government should only provide essential services such as national defense and protection of property rights. They contend that when government expands beyond its necessary functions, it can limit individual freedom and harm the economy. 5. Individuals have a responsibility to take control of their lives. The Friedmans emphasize the importance of individual responsibility, arguing that individuals should take control of their lives and make their own choices. They contend that when individuals rely too heavily on government, they can become dependent and lose their sense of personal responsibility and freedom. Overall, Free to Choose is a powerful defense of free market capitalism and individual freedom. It argues that government intervention in economic affairs is often misguided and inefficient, and that the market, through the forces of supply and demand, is the best way to allocate resources and promote prosperity. The book has had a profound impact on the public debate over economic policy and continues to be widely read and discussed today. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel for more content on non-fiction. Let us know in the comments what other non-fiction books you like to see on our channel.